Okay, actually this time I'm working on the outstanding expected videos. They just take a lot of research and I'm not nearly done, so please bear with me and have this video as a dear to my heart placeholder. Oh boy, here I go again talking about a thing all but 3 people have opinions on. Yeah, that'll make the YouTube thing real for me. Night and Sea by Gumoto isn't what I bought it for. I am an avid consumer of Yuri/Girls Love, and though I do wonder and doubt myself for that, in light of me being male and at least perceived by most to fit into heteronormativity, issues like fetishization and the male gaze um, obviously arise. Still, I don't think there's something inherently wrong with me liking girls' love, and I'm not shy about admitting it, and though I, as previously stated, am often in doubt as to my reasons for my liking of this genre, I come out of it mostly thinking that fetishization or gazing isn't what I get out of it. And emotionally, it's mostly just for the cuteness and kawaii outfits that I'm there, along with the hyper-romanticism. Is that a word? I don't know. And emotionally slightly more mature storytelling in at least the good examples of representation. I guess my writer's soul being at any given day a whiplash of extremely gory and Lovecraftian horror, or Love Me For Who I Am style undying cuteness and oversimplified social issues, will come back to haunt me at some point in my life. Anyways, while it wasn't what I bought it for, the aforementioned undying cuteness and emotional healing, it was incredible. It was awesome. It was describable and simple in a narrative sense, but intangible and soul-rocking on an emotional level. And it was also deeply melancholic. Melancholic in a subtle but permeating way, reminding me while reading of movies like that one movie on Netflix about the Japanese prostitute who just lives in a town. It's mostly slice of life, but has some really intriguing and sad elements to it. Or, pun not intended, Melancholia, from the maker of, why am I blanking on this? Antichrist. Though less bombastic and final than the latter, more wavy and free-floating. And this aspect of underlying melancholy, with Night and Sea simultaneously being a story where the conflict starts at page 1 and gets resolved, well, never actually, and then when a more overt, direct manifestation of dissent and clashing of characters does come up, it being resolved about as pompously and fast as waves forming and ceasing again and again upon hitting the shore is what made it feel right at home for me. See, this video isn't really me analyzing this manga as much as I want to recommend it for similar-minded folks, and also just speak from my heart. While it deviates more or less strongly from genre conventions of aforementioned hyper-romanticism, cosmically big emotions, and campy confessions, it is precisely that which gets me, which made me relate so much to its characters and its eventual conclusion. It has a confession of sorts, but it's more of an, yeah bro, I want to be with you forever, and less of an afternoon sun gently caressing a river's water into sparkling stars, warm shadows cast upon and casting a cold, steel bridge into embracing shadows, the characters shouting their feelings over a fleet of indifferent car noises, insulting the gravitas of the situation for both of the heroines, as one or both cross the very much not metaphorical river into a new, beautiful part of their life, now together, kind of confession. Yes, there are strong emotions in this manga, but to say that they are mostly conveyed in whispers would be to assume and allege that verbal communication reigns superior over sign language. But they're not even expressed, they just follow the stream or get drowned in a trench. So, if you can bear my rambling, let me continue and offer you a recommendation of your lifetime. I have chronic depression. I've had it for at least 10 years now, and it sucks ass out of life. In light of this, however, it is perhaps no wonder that I tend to gravitate to more melancholic, sometimes borderline horrifying and disturbing media, art of suicidal ideation and a deep exhaustion with life, if you will. Night and Sea is not the latter, but it also is anything but uplifting in a traditional sense at least. It starts with Tsukiko getting, in big air quotes, obsessed with her classmate Aya, or maybe more specifically, growing obsessed with Aya while she swims in the school swimming pool alone, and the rest of the time she doesn't care. This is why I put obsessed into air quotes, because the actual emotional connection from Tsukiko towards Aya can be talked about more like a sudden craving that you get, or a knowing in the back of your head, or like a sudden flash of inspiration, like a small emotion, a small attachment, but that's the story's strength, I think. They become friends of sorts, alone together. I have seen the criticism, which I don't necessarily disagree with, that the entire manga feels like those two are talking past each other and nothing ever happens because of this. And normally assigning this as a drawback would be quite correct from my perspective, but that's when an author wants characters to be in dialogue but fails to write them so. Rather, in Night and Sea, a strange connection is quite the point. They talk past each other. Yes, but that is neither unintended nor is it bad for the characters themselves. Arguably. See, Tsukiko is the standard reclusive, emotionally unavailable girl as a result of the equally overdone parents travel a lot so I couldn't keep friends so I don't even bother trope. But what makes her different is that she's precisely emotionally unavailable, not inept. She's actually rather good at reading others. She knows when a classmate would rather have her role in an upcoming play without ever having even so much as talked to her. Knows at a glance when people want something from Aya. She just shies away from closeness. I brought up Aya, and she on the other hand is what I'd uninsultingly would describe as rather high-functioning autistic. She either can't or won't read social cues, says what comes to her mind, and is interminably obsessed with the particular feeling and action of swimming alone, specifically in the school's pool. That seems like the standard pitch so far. Boyish coded loud girl meets kudere ice princess and breaks her cold heart in an Antarctic expedition of unexpected, uncharted love from a here-before uncharted gender. But Night and Sea concludes with the graduation of both of them, and only briefly in the last pages makes the characters reconnect while on the job, per accident, but could be 10 years in the future. These girls made a connection, sure, and healed, yes, but the moon kept rising and the waves eventually died down. There are multiple points in the story, for example, where Aya metaphorically steps on Tsukiko's toes. Due to her calm demeanor, for example, and an exterior that peaks beauty standards, Tsukiko often gets compared to porcelain dolls. The thing is, though, every time that happens, Tsukiko doesn't say anything. And in fact, it only in the third volume out of 3 does she even show a visible reaction to it, and does Aya subsequently realize and stop. And even that is drawn out. Aya in that third volume calls her a doll multiple times, doesn't know how to read Tsukiko's reaction, and continues doing it until like 2 chapters before the end. It is frankly agonizing watching 2 characters continuously misunderstand each other, yet still holding together with a reason for staying together as strong as a strand of hair. And yet the cover art changes from a blue circle to a half-half to a pink one over the 3 volumes, and yet more Tsukiko and Aya arguably found a not necessarily closer but deeper connection than any one of us may ever. They're talking past each other, yes, but at least Tsukiko and Aya aren't alone anymore. They are flimsily connected, true, but a flimsy connection gives both of them room to breathe. The emotions don't have to be strong, they just have to manifest in a sense of non-absence for both of them. Another critique tying into this I've found is that they respect each other's boundaries too much, and that leads to a frustrating end result. And I think that in this case I simply can't agree. This is a rather, well, shall we say, realistic story. Aya trips on Tsukiko's toes and none of them ever talk about it. Aya gets irritated by Tsukiko and it's not within the latter's field of vision or interest. And I mean, that's just how it be, man. People don't often voice their problems, not even to friends and family, and are often too tired or absent to relate. And for both of them, that's fine. But like, genuinely, Tsukiko finds social interaction and attention tiring, so Aya not really having a red string to her thoughts and no through line to connect her actions with is the best case scenario. She might ask Tsukiko something personal, and as a follow-up she will ask why and how bioluminescence works. On the other hand, Tsukiko's largely receptive and rarely inquisitive nature gives Aya all the freedom that she clearly exhibits while providing none of the, at least audible, judgment she gets from others. In essence, while I agree that they're mostly talking past each other, I think the misunderstanding is one of literal conversation. The sentences conveyed in conversation and the truth unspoken are evident and for some may be a drawback, but actually for both of them, the things they don't say liberate them from tiring standards of socialization, while the things they do say don't pass over a specific talking point in so much as they communicate effectively a vibe of situation and relationship. And I think that's what I find so beautifully melancholic about this manga. It is mostly vibes based, with the vibes being calm and sad boy hours. And while I don't want to take away from the beautiful artwork or the attention to detail, but I think this manga is really more vibe than literary substance. And it's absolutely the best it can be like this. I truly love it for that. They effectively exhibit the vibe that is literally the title's namesake. The feeling you get, or the mythology, I guess, of the moon and the ocean being at once tied and in need of each other, while also being too far away and undeservingly, tragically separated. But that is okay. That is even good. They are close enough for the moon to help raise the waves, and the ocean to reflect the moon's value and beauty, but far away enough to not encroach, to not violate their own spaces of comfort. And I think that, at least partially, is really the theme of the manga. They are, to each other, connected in loving estrangement.